To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
I accept the coaster challenge.
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 Do you accept the coaster challenge?
What is the coaster challenge? A group of regular people that went from fearful to fearless, all from riding roller coasters. So please secure your hats and glasses. It's time to take the coaster challenge with your hosts David Cantu and JD Prescott.
Hey, what's happening, JD?
Not much. What's going on, David?
Oh, it's going. Happy April 30th.
Yes.
And what a very special day this episode's on.
Disney.
Yeah. I mean, Disneyland is finally back open. Only at 25%, but hey, at this point, I think we'll take it at this point, you know. But gosh, you know, and what a way to kick off our episode today. And we're doing a very special Disney theme episode. And what a better way to do it than with two very special friends of ours on the podcast.
Kidult TV.
Yeah, Ferny and Dee, along with their friend Sarah. The three of them are all going to be on the podcast today with Andrew. And gosh, it's amazing, you know. Disney is definitely you and I are huge Disney fans.
Oh yeah, love their movies.
You know, and I'm just amazed that in Disneyland's history, the fact that this is the longest Disneyland has ever been closed, over a year. This is only the third time in Disney's history that the park has actually been closed, but this one was the longest. I think the first time Disneyland closed was 1963.
John F. Kennedy assassination.
And then 2001 with the 9/11 attacks, and now 2020, the COVID pandemic. But this one will definitely, I think, in our lifetime, this closure is definitely in the history books that we all were a part of.
Everyone's going to remember this one.
Yeah, this one's going to go for a long ways down the road. But so we're really happy to have Ferny and Dee from Kidult TV on with special guest Sarah. And Andrew's going to get in more detail with that in a little bit. But first, let's see what's happening in the news. Disneyland has officially reopened on April 30th, and at 25% capacity. Both Disneyland and Universal can now reopen at the 25% capacity mark now that Orange County and LA County have reached the orange tier on the COVID restrictions. Theme parks scheduled to reopen in May, as so far we got Knott's Berry Farm, no specific date yet, but keep an eye on the website for details on that. California's Great America has announced that they will be reopening on May 22nd, along with Gilroy Gardens on May 22nd. Playland up in Fresno has announced a May reopening, and no word on SeaWorld San Diego on a reopening date with the rides in the park. And that is what's going on in the news this week.
Well, I mean, they're going to open as a zoo.
Yeah.
You can see animals.
I mean, SeaWorld is open as a zoo.
Yes.
At least you can go see the animals and help support the park anyway. And they've been running a lot of food festivals, just like Universal and Disney and Knott's have been doing. So, I mean, the theme parks have been very creative this past year, trying to find ways to reopen and for people to be able to support them. So, but we've got a really awesome episode. It's very special Disney theme. You know, the discussion, in this episode is going to be about theme park magic. And so Andrew is standing by with Ferny and Dee. And so take it away, Andrew.
Thank you, David and JD. This is Andrew, one of the correspondents with Coaster Challenge. Welcome back to the Coaster Challenge podcast. We've been talking a lot on this podcast over the past episodes here about fear and how coasters and theme parks can help with facing fears and how facing fears can make your life better. Today, we're going to get into another side of theme parks, a very positive side of theme parks, which also helps deal with fear, depression, anxiety, which of course fear is a form of anxiety, and other sort of mental issues, even perhaps physical issues, where there are, again, aspects of theme parks that really help people survive and live with these things and get better and improve these things and reduce these negative impacts on their lives. What we're going to be talking about today is something really special. It's called theme park magic. And to help talk about this and discuss this, I'd like to welcome to the podcast Kidult TV. Welcome, Ferny and Dee.
Hey,
welcome,
what
guys.
it do?
Hello.
What it do?
How are you doing?
Very good. We're very good here in Lancaster, enjoying our day on the Coaster Challenge podcast.
Awesome. So you guys are key to talking about theme park magic because you guys are based there in Southern California and near LA and of course near Anaheim. So you're near Disney, of course, Universal. And why I'm mentioning Disney Universal is especially on a podcast where we're usually talking about big coasters at Six Flags and Cedar Fair, etc. We're talking about Disney Universal today because those are really, especially here in the U.S., the major chains that are the highly themed theme parks. Now, of course, there are specialty parks, regional parks like Silver Dollar City and Dollywood and others that are very highly themed as well. But those are kind of very special, unique, kind of in certain areas. They're not the big chains and so forth. And of course, you guys are not near those parks. What you guys are near Disney and Universal. So we're going to focus on those. And again, what we're going to talk about today is theme park magic. So to kick things off, tell the listeners and tell us about the magic of highly themed parks like Disney Universal. What do you think about the magic and the immersion and so forth?
The environment there itself, it's just you feel like you're in a whole different world. People go there and we talk about it with the other people that are there. Yeah. It's your comfort zone. You feel home there. And when we went back to Disney for Touch of Disney on opening day, a lot of people were saying that. Even the cast members were home. We're home. We're happy to be here. People could be themselves, and it's just, everyone's just happy. It's like you walk through that door and people just like don't have a care in the world. Something as simple as having a private conversation with your own family is an example. And some random stranger just pops and joins your conversation. It's not like out in the other world where you're like, excuse me, who are you? Like, no. And people, they just go along with you, yeah. Yes, I agree. Or where did you see that? They go along with you and it's nice.
Yeah, I truly enjoy being at the Disneyland parks. Even I was saying when I went to Touch of Disney, I don't even know if it's going to be worth it. It's kind of expensive. But as soon as I was in there, I was like, oh, this feels good. This feels real good. Let's go walk around the park. And it feel like you were like at the park. Because for the most part, me and Dee go sometimes, and we don't even ride rides. We kind of just go and have dinner, kind of chill. Sometimes even just kind of just sit down and have coffee. And just to be in there, just to hear the ambient music and all that stuff. That's what kind of makes us. That's kind of like our little bit of magic that we kind of enjoy at the parks.
Nice. Now, Dee, you mentioned about being there on opening day. Which park are you referring to?
To California Adventureland when that park reopened for Touch of Disney, because Disneyland itself is not open for Touch of Disney. They're planning to open at the end of the month of April, so we shall see how that goes.
Right, but you were talking about going to California Adventure, I guess maybe a few weeks ago recently for kind of the taste of Disney where they're not having any attractions open, but you can walk around in the park and you can go to the restaurants and things like that, right?
Yes, you can. And just seeing the characters that they had out there and the cast members, it was great. It was a delight. They get into it. They want to talk to you. We missed you, thanks for being here. I was even telling cast members, thanks for being here. I'm glad you're back. And they would tell me, I'm glad to be back myself.
Even the cast members.
Nice. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit more about that. So going to that experience, did you really feel like the Disney magic was there?
Slightly at a 60%, but not fully. I needed the ride.
Yeah.
I need to hear the rides going on.
You could hear the difference. Like, sincerely, the ambient music they play, and I was like, man, this is really loud. because you're not hearing the ride swooshing by to drown out some of that noise. So
people screaming.
It was like, man, and if they had no music, this place would be a ghost town. But
It'd be eerie. Probably very eerie, I bet. Yeah.
But they did their best. They're having like floats out and having characters that are socially distanced, photo op. So that was still pretty cool. I actually made it on the Disney Parks blog Instagram.
Yeah.
I was saying hi to Joy and I got caught. I'm like, oh, who took that picture of me?
Nice. Now, have you also been to Universal City Walk since they've reopened for something similar, or just to Disney so far?
We just came back from a Taste of Universal. I think it was last week.
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah, I think we have that video up on our YouTube channel. I was actually more excited for that event than I was for a touch of Disney. It was really more.
Why is that? Why were you more excited?
It was all fresh. I had never been to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. There's a lot of. I hadn't been to this park in, let's say, a good 5 or 6 years.
Oh wow!
So when I went, I was like, "Whoa, this park's like the first half of it is cool. I recognize, but then I'm like, whoa, what happened to Terminator? What happened to Backdraft?"
Right. Universal has changed a lot.
And what happened to Back to the Future with Simpsons now, and so many changes going on. So,
Universal has changed a lot. I mean, certainly Universal there in Hollywood has changed. I've been to Universal in Hollywood many times in recent years, and it's changed a lot. But Orlando has changed dramatically too. We'll probably be talking more about that later. But I also want to mention, Ferny, I can relate, to something you mentioned a few minutes ago. As I was talking about earlier before we started recording, I used to live in Southern California and used to go to the parks there all the time. One of the reasons why I went to Universal and Disney all the time, besides going with my friends and my family for dedicated Disney days or even staying overnight, even though, even living in Southern California, sometimes it's nice to stay in one of the hotels and not have to worry about driving home and dealing with traffic and so forth. Yeah. But besides those times, when I still lived in Southern California, but before moving to Florida here almost 3 years ago, the job I had, right before moving, up until moving, and for a good 5-6 years before moving, was one where I was based in San Diego. That's where I lived, but I was visiting customers all the time, whether it be in San Diego, okay, no big deal there, but also all over Orange County, LA, Ventura County. I was going up there all the time. And sure, me, a theme park guy, what am I going to do? Because I could choose my own hotels within reason. I would stay at the Sheraton right there in Harbor Boulevard when I had to be in the Irvine area, Anaheim area, Orange County. If it had to be in North LA visiting customers like UCLA, USC, yeah, you bet I would stay at the Universal Sheraton because I get good rates there. And what am I going to do when I'm staying at those hotels at night? Yeah, like you're talking about, not to say going to do rides, but I'm going to, because I'm on an expense account for work, I'm going to go in the parks and have a nice meal because that's my meal for the day. And I worked all day and my company's paying for my meal. It's all on the up and up. And I've even saved up, for those days when I knew I was going to be going to Disney, for example, and I made reservations and I didn't have much for breakfast or lunch so that I could go to Blue Bayou for dinner, and company paid all of it because I had my $75 reserved for the day.
That's our favorite restaurant.
Blue Bayou.
Oh, I love Blue Bayou.
About Blue Bayou. I'm sorry, I had to stop you there. Blue Bayou. Oh my God.
No.
Oh my goodness. Sure. I love that. That was my bucket list place to eat when we started going back to Disneyland. I'm like, oh, we gotta eat there.
Mm-hmm.
Finally made it there. It's like the best. It's so dope.
That's
out of
awesome.
All the years,
I love hearing that.
Out of all the years I've been going to Disney, I think I've been to Blue Bayou like twice. But every time I go, it's been the best experience, best food. Always love the steak that I've always had on.
Turf and turf, my friend.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. That's awesome. And that Louisiana lemonade and the biscuits and I love that place. I miss it. But yeah, like I said, I would go there at night after working a long day and sometimes a grueling day and tough day, and just being in that environment, not on a ride necessarily, but just inside there with that environment, like you're in the bayou there in Louisiana, so relaxing, and hearing the crickets and seeing the people going by on the boats and the amazing food and the great lighting. That's relaxing. I mean, that's that magic right there without even being on a ride. So, and quite frankly, I love Disney World, and we'll be talking about other Disney parks later, but Blue Bayou is one of Disneyland's advantages over Disney World. There's nothing quite like Blue Bayou in Disney World. So you guys are lucky to yeah. I bet you're planning on getting in there, like you said, by bucket list for the coming back to the parks, making reservation whenever you can. Once the parks reopen for April 30th, right?
Sincerely, like when we went back to Touch of Disney, when all this went down, with all this pandemic that went down, it was on my birthday in March. That's when. So we went to Pixar Lounge. We had dinner for my birthday. Okay, 1 year later, bang, we're back at Pixar. We're back at Pixar Lounge. Touch of Disney. We're back there for my birthday. We're sitting almost at the exact same places.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're back here. It felt really special for us.
Yes.
To be there.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, having the
nice
lobster nachos.
I want to say the Lamplight Lounge is our second favorite restaurant, and compared to the Blue Bayou, which is number one. And we had reservations and everything set up for March 20th of last year. And when the park announced they were closing on the 13th, we both went to our bosses at work and we were like, we got to switch days. We got to switch the Friday off before. And they were both like, we know you're a Disney fan. Yes. So it went, but it was kind of, it was kind of sad. We went to Blue Bayou and they were like, sorry, there's no available walk-in reservations. I couldn't get one online. And I was like, oh no. So then we went to Olga's Cantina in the late morning. And then I said, okay, well, let's do Lamplight. Let's do the lobster nachos. And it was just funny how it was like, it's weird how it works. This was the last restaurant we ate at before the pandemic happened. And then this is the first one we're eating at again when they're slightly reopening.
Yeah. It was sad because the last day we were there, all the characters were on Main Street waving bye to you, saying hi.
I cried for so long right there.
Some way to go back so let's say what's up and say hi to us.
That's intense. That's awesome. That's almost not.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was raining It was raining that day. I remember I was holding on to this big umbrella all day long. And at the end of the night, it must have been like 11 because the park closed at 12. I finally lost the umbrella 1 hour towards the park closing inside the Pin Trader store in Frontierland.
So doing Lamplight or your second favorite, the last time you went before everything closed for the pandemic, and then right when you went back, I was going to say like poetic justice, but that didn't quite sound right to me. Maybe like a theme park karma right there that you wound up at that same place, going back. So let's continue our deep dive here. So we talked about theme park magic and, it's having maybe 60% there with Taste of Disney and so forth. But obviously you can think back to what things were like before the pandemic and perhaps think to how things are going to be as we start to move out of the pandemic. And the new normal is hopefully pretty close to the old normal, but that's another story. But let's talk about when you are immersed in that magic, again, at Disney or at Universal, how has being immersed in that magic made a difference in your lives? Do you have any specific examples or thoughts or feelings you can share?
Well, I want to say, even just going back to Universal last weekend, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and just going to the Wizarding World area, and we went to the wand shop, and he was like, just get a wand, and you got to get the one, the advanced one and everything. So I was like, okay. And he doesn't know anything about the Wizarding World. So he knows Star Wars. So I had to keep giving him examples and translating the Wizarding World to him in Star Wars language so he understood.
So these are the regular wands and these are the legacy wands.
Yes.
So Ferny, when you did the wand shop over at Wizarding World Harry Potter, did you do the experience part where you go in, or did you go straight to the shop?
No, like I think they had the whole experience room just wide open. They had both doors open. And you just walked through. So you could see it, but there was no experience. You just buy one pretty much. That's all it's there for.
Yeah, I was very fortunate back in 2017 when I went to Orlando to Universal Florida. I got to experience the wand shop, and I went right after Hurricane Irma. So literally the week, I was there the day after the hurricane left. But when I went to Universal, it wasn't busy at all. So when I got to do the experience, it was just me and 4 people that were in the room. and the guy actually picked me. And I was like, oh my God, the guy actually picked me for the wand. So
No,
it
the
turns
wand
out,
picks you. I hear the wand picks you.
Turns out I ended up getting the Harry Potter wand.
Nice.
This is the
Nice.
one that worked for me. So I ended up buying it, and it sits here in my office.
So I'm gonna, and this, I have a feeling this is not going to be the only spicy take I'm going to mention here on this particular episode. But you know, since we came up with talking about Harry Potter, so I am a much bigger Star Wars fan than I'm a Harry Potter fan. No question, without a doubt. I'm a bigger Marvel fan than I am a Harry Potter fan. You probably know where I'm going with this. I saw your R2-D2. Of course, this is a podcast, so we, you know, the listeners can't see what we're seeing right now. But lo and behold, that Ferny and D, they have a really cool R2-D2 on the shelf, and they're bringing something over here. It's there. What do you got there? Oh, Saber. Okay. Yep. Speaking of Star Wars. So again, bigger Star Wars fan, bigger Marvel fan, but I love Galaxy's Edge, no question. And I believe that Rise of the Resistance is the best dark ride on the planet. Absolutely. But in terms of just enjoying the lands, walking around, the interactivity that you can have, I think Harry Potter has nailed it. Universal's nailed it with the Wizarding World, with the wands, and just with the level of detail. Whereas Disney, I think with some last minute budget cutting where they cut out the droids and you can't really interact with the land so much other than the Play app. I think that there's some magic. Speaking of what we're talking about in the podcast today, there's some magic missing. What do you guys think about that? Now, I know you have not really experienced Ferny and D Harry Potter, and that's something you got to do, but that's something, you know, you can do eventually after the pandemic. But what do you think about what you know about the Wizarding World at Universal Parks versus you guys have experienced, I'm assuming, Galaxy's Edge? What is your thought on what I just mentioned?
Oh yeah, we have experienced both, have we?
We have experienced both, and after having the interactive one, I feel like there was more magic in the Wizarding World than compared to Galaxy's Edge. Because honestly, the only thing we had that could interact in Galaxy's Edge was our droid. When we walk around, and it only, it only does interactions with, depending on what part of the land you're in, or when you cross other droids. But that's really it besides the app. And when you're using the app, every time we would use it, it would drain our battery, it would crash. There was always something going on. I thought it was neat that you could use the app to make like the lights and like the steam go off on the
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, on the ships and everything that make them light up. But that was really the only things I enjoyed using on the app. But at the Wizarding World, there was multiple areas to use your wand, and you saw
You don't
something
need a phone.
magic.
You don't need a phone.
You don't need a phone, yeah. And you don't have to worry about your wand running out of battery. It doesn't die. You know, just clean up the lens at the end, and you're good.
The wand's very cool how the technology works, and you don't need any batteries. I need batteries for my lightsaber.
Right.
I experienced Savvy's workshop, and I got my lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge when I had reservation, but my batteries have died on it. I've only turned it on a few times, so it's like, oh my goodness, I haven't activated it that much, and the battery died. So I'm like, I need to replace it. So, but anyway, Ferny and D, you do have you have another person on your team with us today, and I want to make sure she's in on it. But we got Sarah on here. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
So I know the three of you do a lot of videos together, you know, I want to make sure you're in on this too, because for those that are listening, there's actually 5 of us here on the podcast right now. So.
Yeah, a little larger than usual. Just to clarify, by the way, Ferny and D, I realize you have been to the Wizarding World, but here's a recommendation to you. 2 things. First of all, as David was alluding to, and I've done it as well, you didn't get to experience the wand shop in terms of going in and the show experience that they have. So even though you have your wand already, do it again whenever they have that after the pandemic, or maybe in May when they reopen, whenever it is. Do it again. And the other thing to do is, you guys, of course, need to come here to Orlando because you haven't been to the parks here. Bring your wand, it works. And it won't just work in Hogsmeade; it'll work in Diagon Alley as well. You have so many opportunities to use that wand here.
Weren't you surprised about that?
I wanted to go. I was really kind of I don't want to say disappointed, but I was.
Where's the rest of it?
I guess my intentions, my expectations were so high. I was like, "Where's the dragon statue with the blind fire? Where's Dagon Alley?" I expected more, but I guess I kept watching and seeing things from the Florida park, not realizing. It was still very cool. Yes,
very.
I enjoyed it.
Well,
but yes, we do want to plan to go over there eventually to Florida.
Definitely. I highly recommend it. The Universal parks here in Florida are so much better than Hollywood. The only thing we're missing is the tram tour, which is amazing. I love the tram tour in Hollywood, but there's so much more here. Hagrid's and all the coasters and all of the shows and the food, the dining options and all that. But, it's just amazing. And by the way, the dragon is amazing. Diagon Alley and all that is great. Now, supposedly, there's a famous saying. That's what I was starting to get to. There's a famous saying from Walt that he went to Florida, did the Florida Project, as was called initially, because the blessing of size, because land is so much cheaper here. It had been developed to the degree that California, land had been developed. So the parks here are much bigger. There's more space to expand. And Diagon Alley, they're able to do that. They had to take Jaws out to do it, which is unfortunate, but Diagon Alley is amazing. Yeah. There are rumors that Diagon Alley may be coming to Hollywood, where they're going to kind of fit it in there somewhere, I think on the upper lot, but who knows with the pandemic.
Well, we'll see what happens, but there's a big shift going on between Warner Brothers and Universal right now, because Warner Brothers here in Burbank is building they took over the former NBC studio lot, and they're building this massive skyscraper, and they're moving the Western Ranch studio lot off of Hollywood Way, just by the original Warner Brothers. They're moving that all over to the former NBC lot. Now that means that Warner Brothers is going to be selling their Western Ranch studio lot, which heard rumors that Universal might be looking to purchase that property. And if they do, they would probably most likely be moving a lot of their production stuff over there. And then that would give the park more space to be able to expand the park. So hopefully we'll see what happens, but it's probably in the next couple of years, we'll see what happens. So,
yep. Yeah, I think there's going to be some action there, because especially with what Disney's doing, which we're going to talk about later, some things that Disney's up to as well there in California. But let's continue with our discussion of magic here. So Ferny, D, and Sarah as well, please feel free to join in. Perhaps each of you could answer this question individually. What has been your most magical moment at a Disney or Universal park, whichever one has been more magical for you? What has been that moment? Tell me about that.
Me and D we were thinking about this hard earlier, because we were like, what is our magical moment there? Like we've had so many already, like with cast members and stuff like that. And I really think our magical moments are like the times we're just sitting there, and a cast member will come up and just talk to us and just tell us something, and kind of give us like the 411 or something like that, or we're just kind of like looking, and they'll give us like a special little button or something like that, something that they have in their pockets. Those are like the little itty bitty little magical moments that we really enjoy about being at Disneyland. They have good employees. Like with the buttons. I remember there was a time where, whenever their new movies would come out and premiere, they would hand out that button at the gate for the day. And I remember one time we missed it, and we showed up to the park late in the evening, and we were at Stage Door Cafe, and the cast members were wearing them, and I had just mentioned saying, we came too late, we just missed them, and literally they took them off their shirt and they gave it to us. We're like, really?
And like, really, are you sure? And they're like, yeah.
Like, you guys can have them.
You can have them.
You guys missed it. Don't worry, we'll find one later.
That's awesome.
Things like that are like really kind of like heartwarming, and you're like, okay, that's definitely worth my price of admission right there.
I really enjoy.
Yep,
Sorry, when we would go early in the morning, I really enjoy the cast members, You know, they're not going to do, you can't do it anymore with the pandemic, but they would all wear their Mickey gloves and wave you on Main Street. And they wanted a high five from you. And I would always go like, he already knew. I would be walking on the left side and he already knows what I'm going to do. I walk on the other side of him and he already knows. I already know what you're going to do. I go down and like to high five them all. You know, you get them all, good morning. You know, it's just, I don't know, that morning vibe that they welcome you.
Oh, the morning vibe.
You know, even the janitorial people, they're just standing there with the Mickey gloves. The cast members that would work the merch stores, they're all just right there. How are you doing today? Even for the rides, because I'm a type of person on certain rides, I have to sit in certain areas, either in the front or the back. And when you're nice enough and you ask them, can we please wait for the front? Can we please wait for the back? No problem. And they tell you to wait. Okay, so how's your day going? Oh, it's okay. You know, I like to hear about their day. We would recognize a handful of cast members all the time. You know, I remember there was a gentleman that worked at Big Thunder Mountain. Well, that's one of our favorite rides. And he would wear glasses and he would recognize us. You guys are here. We're back. Yeah. You know, it was nice that some of the cast members remembered us, recognized us, even the characters. They get really into it. I remember when Captain Marvel came out, that was one of the habits we were doing. Let's go say hi to Captain Marvel. And she would always tell us, you guys are my favorite couple that come and always say hi to me. And I would tell them, she remembers us. I'm like a kid. She remembers us.
I don't know if they actually do remember you, but the way they talk to you and the way the thing they say make you feel like, oh, okay.
No, she even remembered because I told her, I said, remember when we came on opening day and I asked you to hold the Captain Marvel button. They were handing out that. She said, I remember. And I told you I couldn't hold it for you. And you had to hold it. Like they remember. So it was nice.
They're very good. They're very good.
So you had some of these experiences during the Taste of Disney. Is that correct? Because you said opening day.
Pandemic.
I think this was
these are pre-pandemic
stories.
Yeah,
like before all this
pre-pandemic. Okay.
Touch of Disney was cool. Everybody was nice. Everybody was still happy to see us at the parks when we walked in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but from a distance.
Yeah, you know, from a distance.
Yeah.
You know? He's like, hey, that's enough.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, interesting. Sarah, is there anything you want to share? Any magical experiences?
I think mine have just been like when I've gone with like a group of friends, like going with Ferny and Dee, and then, you know, my daughter, and just us having fun and going, and, you know, the cast members always staying higher. When you've got your birthday button on, they're all super sweet. You're constantly like all day long getting birthday wishes, or like, I remember when Sierra was small and we got her a princess ears set. And it has like the flowing veil in the back. Then, you know, they walk by and they're like, happy birthday, princess, or, you know, hi, princess, or stuff like that. Like, that makes your day. Like, I know it's part of what they have to do being cast members, but
exactly what to say though.
Yeah, like they just have to acknowledge the fact that you're wearing it, or that you have a button on or something, but it's the way that they say it and the emphasis on how they say it. Like I think it's awesome. And, you know, there's like specific rides, and we'll get onto that later, that I like going on. But I'm like, I like being there. I was never the person who wanted to be there when the gates opened. Ferny and Dee turned me into that person. Like, I remember one time we went, and we spent, I think it was like all day Saturday, and they're like, okay, friends, we'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Guess who was at the park before them? That was me. He really didn't think that I was going to, mind you.
I've joined you many times on that.
Yeah.
Too.
And we live an hour and 20, 30 minutes north of the park. Ferny and Dee are only 30 minutes from the park. So, yeah, I texted him and I was like, where are you? And he goes,
Oh, you were serious about that?
Yeah, let's go. So, I mean, ever since then, we've always been there early.
You know, go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you guys made me think of, you know, all of us here, all five of us here in this podcast Yes, this is Coaster Challenge, and a lot of what Coaster Challenge is about, given especially our previous podcast episodes and our videos on our YouTube channel, is about coasters and thrill coasters and so forth. But all of us on this podcast, and probably Iva as well, big fans of Disney. And so I love hearing this. And I got to say, we're dedicated. You guys are talking about getting there at rope drop. Probably my most dedicated experience ever with involving something like that with Disney was my buddy and I here in Orlando, December 5th, 2019, back in the good old days before the pandemic. We were there at Hollywood Studios at 4 a.m. at the toll plaza, the parking, toll plaza there, to get into that lot, lined up, waiting so we could park and run over to the front gates and scan our fingerprints and our magic pants, annual pass holders, and get into that park and get our boarding passes for Rise of the Resistance. And we succeeded in that mission, by the way. We were both two of the first members of the public to ride it on opening day, December 5th. And you know what? That was pretty magical. But that takes dedication. Waking up early, I get it. What you guys are talking about.
Exactly.
David,
Dude,
exactly what we're talking about.
Yes, talking about dedication. Let's see. For us, first of all, when those reservations came out for Galaxy's Edge, I was at work and I was on my mobile phone and I was on the work computer, and I had told them at work, you can't disturb me for the next 30 minutes. My phone's on hold. I can't. I need to do something.
Back off.
And I was lucky enough. I had 2 screen names on the Disney app that I was able to get 2 reservations. And one of them was for opening day, opening morning at 8 a.m. I don't know how I was lucky enough to get it. So we were there. I remember our friend Juan was there at the park at 4 or 5 in the morning waiting in line, and already the line was to the monorail track from the gates.
I'm like, oh, no.
And it was raining, and we were like, oh no, we're coming with umbrellas and everything. And we were there in the park, and it was such an anxiety, intense feeling. The park, okay, so they had to let us in by like 6 a.m. The sun was literally just coming up. It was barely turning blue. And the line was all the way to the gates of DCA. And I had gone to the restroom.
Wow.
I remember asking a cast member, the line's almost to the gate. What are you guys going to do? And she was freaking out. We don't know yet. We are trying to figure it out. We don't know yet. I literally 5 minutes after I came back to the restroom and I got back in line with the boys, they had to let us in the park. There were too many people in the Esplanade. Then Main Street was full because they only let us go up to the hub. And it was all packed with people. And everyone was in line at Starbucks.
That was an anxious day.
I'll never forget that, because 3 attempts I tried to get on Rise of the Resistance. And I got to thank you guys, because you guys really helped me, because I got to experience it right before the park closed from the pandemic. Man. I could not get over my first attempt. I was literally at the center of the Walt Disney statue. Main Street, all around Sleeping Beauty's castle, was packed with people all on their cell phones at the same time. And when 8 o'clock came, it was like everybody was processing at the same time. And you would hear people cheering in far distance that they got a reservation and all this stuff. And it was like, oh my God. But speaking back to what you guys were discussing about magical moments. So there is one special magical moment that I got to experience in the Disney experience. And that was when I went to Disney World for the very first time. Because when you go to a Disney park for the first time, they give you that first visit button. So they gave me that button. And when I visited Hollywood Studios, and that was my very first visit, and when I walked into the gate, my buddies Ted and Rolando were already in the park. They were like heading toward Star Wars, the Star Tours, because Galaxy's Edge wasn't open yet. I get through the gate, and they had us all stop because they do a Star Wars show over at the Hollywood, or we call it the theater in
the Man's Chinese Theater. Chinese Theater. Yeah.
So every couple of hours, the stormtroopers will march down the main street to the theater. Well, I'm standing there as the stormtroopers were coming through. One stormtrooper saw my first visit button, and he pointed at me and says, you're now part of the First Order. You're to march with us. And I got to march with the stormtroopers all the way down the main street, all the way to the theater, which that's what I like about the Disney magical moments is that they do include people into the experience. And I that was a very special moment. I'm glad I had my cell phone out. I actually videotaped myself marching with the stormtroopers, which is a good memory. I'll never forget that one. So
how awesome, David. I didn't realize you had that. I know of those experiences. I know of people, not myself, but others that have gone through that. But you were chosen in the wand shop in Wizarding World at Universal. You were chosen to be a prisoner and marching with the stormtroopers at Hollywood Studios. Wow, you got some luck there. You got some karma going for you. I love it.
Well, here's a word of advice. If there's a hurricane coming to Florida, make sure you book your trip directly after the hurricane leaves, because that's when the parks are dead. And you can I actually had Magic Kingdom all to myself. There was only 50 people the next day after Irma left. The parks opened immediately.
Oh, cool.
And I got to Marathon Space Mountain, Marathon Haunted Mansion, Pirates. The only rides I didn't get to experience because of damage was Jungle Cruise and Splash Mountain. Those were the only two shut down. Everything else was open, and there was barely anybody in the park. And I got to say I got to enjoy Magic Kingdom practically to myself. That's very rare for anybody with Disney, I'll tell you.
That's awesome. So Ferny, D, and Sarah, one of the things you guys mentioned, which I think is interesting, and with our last question about the most magical moment you ever experienced, it wasn't, this amazing dark ride, Rise of the Resistance, or Pirates, which is amazing at Disneyland, or Space Mountain, or any of these amazing attractions, or even a certain restaurant or a show. It was about the people. And it doesn't surprise me at all. And, I wasn't testing or anything. I just want to see where you guys are coming from. But it does not surprise me at all as someone who's been to, actually every Disney park on the planet at this point, something that I'm very proud of and I feel very fortunate for. And I've seen that magic at parks all over the world. In certain cases, some more magic even, say, in Japan than here in the U.S., but it's like you said, it's the passion of the cast members. Mm-hmm. And I really hope and pray, because, a serious moment here. We are here end of March of 2021 at hopefully the sunset of this pandemic. It's been over a year now, that all of these cast members that you guys are going to start seeing probably or hopefully here in a little more than a month, a few of which you already started seeing at the Taste of Disney, but seeing when the parks are fully open again, with the attractions open and so forth, that these cast members, they've been out of work for a year, and maybe some of them have gotten other jobs or done gigs or whatever, but these people have been under tremendous stress. And I just hope that they, can bounce back. And I feel awful for what they've been through with the economy and everything, but hopefully they can continue to deliver that magic, because it's not automatic. Yes, they're supposed to, as you guys said, they're supposed to deliver that magic. That's how they're trained. Doesn't mean they're people. And they are, limited by their emotions and their own emotional challenges and anxieties and depressions and so forth. So hopefully that magic will continue. And maybe you guests being there, they're not going to see your smiles, unfortunately, because the masks are on, but they can sense the energy and the excitement and other ways, people jumping around and running and whatnot. So hopefully they will feed off of the excitement of you guys and thousands of other people that have not been able to be in the parks there in Anaheim and California in general for the past year, that hopefully you guys will feed off of each other and just have this nice positivity, and that magic will start up again. So we can hope.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I guarantee there's going to be that magic there from the cast members. They do make it. And I want to say how there's examples for it. So our friend Monica, and Beeves, we have friends that work there and they miss it. They say, we can't wait to go back. We miss the people. We miss the guests. They're excited to go back to work. So, they're going to bring that magic. That day when we first went back, when Downtown Disney opened, and we were in line on the harbor side, and I was in line by myself because Ferny and Juan went to go get some coffee and something to eat across the street at Denny's. The gentleman in line in front of me was a cast member and started talking to me because I'm holding a camera. Hey, are you a YouTuber? Yeah, I'm a cast member. And after talking to him, this gentleman missed working at the park, saying he was just there a couple weeks ago to get his anniversary pin, and they were introduced to the new tunnels that were right there on the harbor side, and he was showing me, and he was just like, I can't wait to come back. I'm here. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was when Buena Vista Street opened.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he was by himself, and he's like, I'm just here to see my friends that I miss working with. That's why he was there. And he's all
nice.
And we kept running into him, and I would say, hey, how's your day going? Nice. It's going great. I've seen my friends. I miss some of them. You know, he would say there's a habit. You get used to seeing the same people at work all the time. And now he was like, and now we just trickle, and you're kind of seeing who's still here. Yeah. But just hearing from all the cast members that we know, they miss it. You know that magic's gonna be there, and they do bring it. You know, there's a.
You know why it's gonna be there? Because their magic is there for them, for us.
Yeah.
So I mean, they miss us, we miss them. It's a mutual thing. It'll be there, come back. Mm-hmm. We all get back to the parks, and we would recognize cast members there too. Like there was the one named Steve that was always at the Disneyland Railroad, and I remember when the dinosaurs was under construction for a long time, and he held a little pocket wheel with the dinosaurs, and he would tell us, you want me to show you the dinosaurs? I know they're sleeping right now, but I'll show you. And he would pull out this little wheel with the dinosaurs. Okay, there you go. He's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, and he would make the noise, the music. Some of those guys are pretty funny. I remember the joke was they were on spring break or something like that when they were doing the construction. Had the covers on. You know, we would see the same girls. What was her name? I'm starting to forget their name, and I would always remember their names. Tracy, Gracie, I forget. But we love driving the Disneyland transportation vehicles on Main Street right there. And we would recognize them, and we would walk down, and they would be driving. We would say hi. You know, we would see the same cast members and just ask, how's your day? How's your week? Because we would go every Saturday for sure. And then when we get a chance, we'll go another time during the week. But you see the same people, and it was just nice. How's your day going? They bring the magic. We missed you. Yes.
How awesome. You know, and like you said, Ferny, and this is kind of what I was bringing up earlier, is there, you know, you guys want the magic and the cast members want to deliver the magic. There's a synergy. It's a symbiotic relationship. And so, you know, like you said, you know, it sounds like from these small experiences you've had and the Taste of Disney and Buena Vista Street and so forth, that you're already seeing it. And these people can't wait to get back to work. And I think that's all awesome. So, this actually kind of relates to my next question. You kind of touched upon it, but maybe you have some other thoughts. So my next question was, you know, what are your thoughts about the parks reopening? And what I mean by that is not we've already experienced. I mean, reopening at 15 to 25% as they're planning, with attractions coming up here starting April 30th and right around that time as well for Universal. So, you know, either Universal or Disney. What are your thoughts on these parks finally reopening in a semblance of what they used to be?
Something that we've been waiting for a whole year for them to open. Now we're ready for them, and now we're kind of like a little standoffish because we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody at Disneyland has any passes right now. We don't know what the whole pass situation is going to be. Is it going to be affordable? Is it going to be something is it going to be worth it? Are we going to be able to go as much as we used to go when the park was open?
And are there going to be monthly plans, or is it just going to be pay up front? We don't know yet.
Those are the things that determine whether or not we're going to Disney or not. You know?
Well, yes. So my thought, for what it's worth, and you know, David and I, we talk a lot, and I have a lot of theme park buddies, you know, here in Florida and just remotely. You know, I talk via text or phone or whatnot. Disneyland and Disney World are obviously very different. Disneyland, one of the ways it's very different is it has a huge, loyal, fervid local pass holder base there in California, Southern California even. Whereas Disney World has a much smaller local pass holder base and pass holder base in general, even though Disney World has a much larger capacity, you know, COVID or not. So Disneyland has a huge challenge ahead of it. And I think that's probably why they canceled all these passes in preparation to reopen, because reopening at 15, 25%, even bumping up to 35 or however they're going to go up, they can't handle the pass holders. So, you know, obviously you guys are going to have a park pass reservation system, you know, very similar to what we have here. My guess is initially there aren't going to be passes. You guys are just going to have to buy tickets. That's my guess. So, I mean, would you? Yeah. So let's do it. Let's play a little theoretical. What would you do game? Let's imagine that what I just said is basically true, and I don't have any inside information. I'm just guessing. And we're talking about the same ticket prices, which is what, like one park per day, it's a one day ticket. It was, I think, around $150 or so. And then it's $25 more, $50 more even for a park hopper for one day. Would you guys, be willing to do that, assuming you can get a reservation to get into the parks? Would you pay a one day ticket?
I mean, I think we would probably pay a one day ticket for the first day, the opening day that they reopen. But I don't see ourselves going like every single weekend like we used to for, whatever the ticket's going to be, that's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to get expensive real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus,
of course.
Now you don't have any parking anymore. So now it's
that's all that extra funding that you're not used to paying up front going to the park.
Exactly.
Honestly, when we would go, everything would be paid for. And whenever we would walk into the park, whatever money we have, that was our spending money because our pass was already paid for. We had the fast pass system. We had the photos, everything we need, So, and now you got to go with more out of pocket the same day. And as of right now, it's $104 and it's only going to be one park one day.
We won't have the joy of being able to go to we can go over and have breakfast over at what's that cafe that we like eating at the end of Main Street? Yeah, on Coronation Cafe.
Main Street.
Or Main Street, yeah. And then, going over for like mid-afternoon dinner time, going over to Lamplight and having lobster nachos. We won't have that freedom. And that part, as much as I hate to say the word, it sucks. Because, you can spend a whole day in Disneyland and have a great time, but there's that part that's like, I want to go ride over at California Adventure. I want to go get on the Incredicoaster, or I want to go do a time slot over at Soaring Around the World, or, just something else just to break up only being in one park. And we won't have that option.
Yeah, like what I normally did at Disney, like I would go to both parks that day, go ride the rides I want to ride. A lot of times, like I'll go to Storyteller Cafe over at the Grand Californian, and I'll either go there for its breakfast, or sometimes I'll go for the dinner buffet because I'm able to leave the park, go outside, get something nice, still get the discount with the annual pass. And then I can just hop right back from the hotel entrance right back into Disney's California Adventure. But I feel like if you can't get a day ticket to get in the park, the only options you have is the downtown Disney district and the hotel restaurants just to go and just enjoy that area, like City Walk at Universal. But I don't know. It's like, and I was listening on the news recently, they're saying chances of getting day tickets to Disneyland is going to be nearly impossible because so many people are going to be fighting to get tickets to go there. So I don't know what Disney's going to be moving forward. There was rumors of a membership program. I don't know if that's going to be like what Six Flags is trying to do, with their membership program, but I just can't see that happening. And I just don't see annual passes coming back anytime in the future right now. So,
or at least in the near future. Limited capacity and annual passes at Disneyland is very different than limited capacity and a much smaller annual pass holder base at Disney World. You've got more parks. The parks are bigger. They can handle more people at the limited capacity. So I think for Disneyland or Universal, for the Southern California highly themed parks, Universal and Disney, given their size and given how limited they're going to be as far as how many people they can have, 15 to 25% they're talking about initially, though pass holder, having an annual pass holder program and that limited capacity, those two are competing. They cannot get along with each other. They don't, they can't exist together, as I should say. And so again, my thought is at least initially, no one's going to have a pass, and it's basically going to be like a lottery system to get a day ticket and get a park pass reservation. That's my guess. And
that's what I was thinking.
I hear you guys, you go in every weekend. I used to go there all the time when I lived in Southern California. I know of people. I know this guy, huge Disney fan, crazy Disney fan. You may have heard of this guy. I can't remember his name. He blings up the mouse ears with all these crystals and stuff. He is literally in the Disney parks in Disneyland and California Adventure every single day. Only time he's not there, because he usually doesn't have the top tier pass, I guess the premier, is he would not be there between Christmas and New Year's during the blockout dates during the holidays. Mm-hmm. And he would actually tell me, speaking of kind of the things we talked about on this show, on this podcast, he has told me when I was hanging out with him that he would get depressed during that 1 week or so time period, because he's used to going to Disney every day. No, he's not there all day because he has a day job, but he'll go there for, after work. Like I was talking about, when I'd be up there and I'd stay at a hotel locally and I'd go in there and go to Blue Bayou, maybe ride a ride or something. Those kinds of experiences where you just go in for a few hours, that's not going to happen in the near future. It's going to be a dedicated day, and people may have to take off time from work, because I bet a reservation on a Monday or Tuesday is going to be much easier to get than a Saturday or Sunday. And my advice to you guys is think, I don't know what kind of work, what kind of jobs you have. If you have, hopefully you can been saving up vacation time. I'm guessing if you have vacation time, you've not been using much in the past year. So you know what? Use that vacation time. Take that Monday off or whatever day it is, if it needs to get a park pass where you can get into Disney within the first few weeks. Get that magic again, because you guys, we all need it. We all need the magic. And now, myself, I've been very fortunate. Living here in Florida, not talking about politics here, but there have been very big differences about how the government reopened Florida versus how the government has been reopening California. Obviously, our parks reopened here starting last summer. I didn't go to the parks for many months because I was concerned about COVID. And as the parks proved themselves with the masks, with the social distancing, people are not getting COVID in any major way by going to theme parks. I've heard this again and again. Theme parks are safer than grocery stores. And you know what? I've been to SeaWorld. I've been to Universal. I've been to Disney here in Florida since the pandemic. And those people are right. It is safer than grocery stores, because they're the cast members, the team members, the ambassadors, as the case may be, they police the parks. They make sure people are not being big crowds. They make sure people are keeping their masks on and staying apart in the queues and so forth. And the various other passive things have been done. The plexiglass between rows on certain ride vehicles, and keeping certain rows empty in shows, and all this stuff adds up, and so forth. And yeah, I have experienced it. We're talking about magic. So the last comment I'll say here is, say, for example, Disney. I've been back to Disney one day since the pandemic. It was great. Went to Hollywood Studios, rode Rise of the Resistance, did some other rides, grabbed some nice, lunch, Ronto Wrap, one of the awesome things at Galaxy's Edge. And it was all awesome. But one thing I noticed is, with everyone wearing their masks, that magic is somewhat missing. You don't see the smiles on cast members and guest faces. So you kind of miss that emotional aspect. Yeah, it was fun to ride those rides. And yeah, it was amazing to be in Rise of the Resistance again, and to eat that awesome food and hear the music and smell the smells. But there's a little bit of magic missing. I'm not saying to not go to the parks, but I'm hoping that eventually, as we really sunset this pandemic and we get to herd immunity end of this year, whatever it is, that maybe this time next year, maybe we're not wearing masks anymore, something like that. But anyway, so that's been my experience. I don't want to, so I mean, if you guys have questions, this is an interview, I'm interviewing you guys, but if you guys have questions for me about what the experience has been like, because I've been through it at all the major parks here, do you guys have any questions you want to ask?
I have one thing, I guess. How do you feel about the meet and greets with the characters now than pre-pandemic? Because honestly, I'm gonna miss giving Mickey Mouse a hug. I gotta wave at him now, like, that little enjoyment. It was there.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So, and I'm going to reflect as part of this on you guys in Disneyland. I personally am not big myself on the meet and greets, but I have nieces and nephews that visit. We actually just had my niece and nephew were here last week. We didn't go to any of the parks because the family wasn't comfortable. They normally live in Texas, and they're like, no, let's not do the major parks this time, COVID. But normally, I remember taking him. He's a huge Star Wars fan, still living in San Diego. We took him, not the niece, but we took him. He's older, to Disneyland, and he met Darth Vader for the first time, and that was awesome. I mean, all the interactions and the noises, and he was mesmerized, and those kind of things are awesome. And that's not happening right now. My big thing, the parades are nice, and the cavalcades, they're okay. Here's my big problem. I love the nighttime spectaculars. I live for them, as the saying goes. And I mean, the ones we have here are good. I'm, excited for Harmonious and, coming to Epcot. But my favorite nighttime spectacular of all time, and this goes back to you guys, is World of Color. I miss World of Color, not living in California anymore, but you guys are not going to get World of Color. You get a DCA reservation April 30th. World of Color is not happening. Yeah. And that sucks, but it is a necessity because of crowds. So we're talking about magic here. The magic of the cast members will be there. You won't see their smiling faces. You're going to hear the music. You're going to smell the smells through the mask. You're going to, experience the immersion of the lands and the rides, but you're not going to really interact with the characters. You're not going to see the parades coming through in that magical way with all the parade floats one by one. You're not going to see the fireworks and the World of Color and all these special, nighttime spectaculars. And so that does take away from the magic. I hated that I couldn't see any nighttime spectaculars when I went back to Disney in January. Does that mean not go to the parks? Again, no, I think you should go to the parks, but just have expectations a little bit lowered temporarily. It's not like they're gone forever. They're coming back. It's just, we got to wait a little longer. So
speaking of coming back, Disney, I guess we all are aware of this, but Disney is really looking on to the future here. Oh my God. Yeah. I was shocked when I saw the news about the expansion over in Anaheim, the proposal, Disney Forward. I was like, oh my God, hooray, about time.
Disneyland Forward. Awesome news last week. Yeah. So David and I have talked about this. I want to get your guys' input. That was one of the things we want to talk about here on the list. I think that Disney decided to make this announcement now, and they were able to get to the point where they can make the announcement because the city council and the politics there in the city of Anaheim, they have realized, oh my God, Disney is the life of this city. Mm-hmm. Directly or indirectly, the parks themselves, the hotels, all the restaurants. Without the parks open, none of them are in business. And Anaheim's like, oh my God, we got to support Disney moving forward, not in a better way than we have. So what do you guys think? Yeah.
They didn't realize how much they actually relied on Disney and what Disney brings to the city of Anaheim by being there. They've been shut down. We were driving down last week when we went to Touch Disney. We were driving down Harbor, and what was it? Oh, the McDonald's that sits right there across from Disney, it has been closed since the pandemic hit. They haven't opened it. Not a lot of the hotels have opened back up yet. I don't even think any of the hotels have opened up back up down there in Anaheim, even, close by the resort.
Yeah, why would they? There's no one coming.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, for myself who follows in local governments, especially here in California, I mean, for the past decade, many city council officials that have been elected on the Anaheim City Council were very anti-Disney. They were always campaigning against Disney, and people are just so close-minded. Or you could tell who has business economics experience, and it's like common sense, right? What's going to thrive a city? Main attractions, right? Okay, yes, Anaheim has Anaheim Angel Stadium. Well, guess what? Baseball season only happens so many months out of the year. They have the Arrowhead, they have the Mighty Ducks, and it's like, well, hockey is only a seasonal thing. Disney is a year-round attraction that attracts people from all over, not just all over California, but internationally as well, not as much as Orlando. Yep. But there were so many city officials that were so against Disney's proposals. That's why Disney shelved the hotel project that they shut ESPN Zone and Rainforest Cafe down. They had a bridge project to a parking structure. I think forgot the name of it. I don't know if you know about it. Know the name of it, Ferny?
The Eastern, I think it's the Eastern Gateway, I think is what they called it.
Yeah. That was shelved because Anaheim said no, because the bridge they were proposing was going to bypass all the small businesses along Harbor Boulevard. So that was shattered. So I think, it took the pandemic because I guess if Disney's closed, nobody's going to come to Anaheim. What are you going to go to Anaheim for? And hurt every small business surrounding Disney. So I think it was a total wake-up call to the city of Anaheim saying, hey, you know what? Disney actually does bring the tax revenue and brings the people into our city and helps the small businesses around the park. And I think all those city council members, I'm very passionate about it because when it comes to politicians, it's like there's a lot of them that don't really understand how business works, and I'm a businessman, so it's like I'm a small business owner. It's like, yes, you need that attraction. So I hope the city of Anaheim has woken up. The mayor sure has. You saw the mayor standing at a hotel roof back during the pandemic and was complaining about being shut down. Duke California Adventure was asking Newsom to come down and look at Anaheim. So I hope that Anaheim plans on passing this project that Disney wants to do, because Disney's looking onto the future. Now, after what Anaheim has done in the past, was Disney going to want to continue investing in Disneyland? What if they invested it all in Orlando, like they've been?
Right.
But no, Disney's moving forward. They want to
invest,
so hopefully Anaheim changes their tune and passes this project and gets things going, because Disney's looking to the future, and the city of Anaheim needs to as well. Sorry if I'm a little passionate, but
No, I think that's great, David. And David, as you know, as a close friend of mine, I try, and I've been facing some major personal challenges, as David knows, starting January of this year. And even with those and other things in the past, I always look for the positive. I always try to focus on the positive, and that's what keeps me waking up each morning and not feeling depressed and so forth. And that's something that's a skill that I've learned over the years. It's not easy. And I'm going to use that skill right here. And you know where I'm going with this already. Disneyland Forward, if there's any silver lining out of all these parks and hotels and restaurants and businesses, the whole city of Anaheim basically closed for the past year. California closed for the past year. If there's any silver lining for the context of us as theme park fans, it's that the city of Anaheim, the officials have woken up and realized, oh my gosh, we got to take care of this incredibly important resource sitting here between Catella and Harbor and Disneyland Way, the Disneyland property and California Adventure. And I am really excited for Disneyland Forward. So, you guys, what do you, any Ferny and D, any thoughts? Certainly we could talk about some of the specifics of what Disneyland Forward will turn out to be. What do you want to talk about?
Man, that project looks, and I see some of the concept art for what they want to do with it. And it's like pretty much from the back of DCA to the back of Disneyland. It stretches that far out. It's a big piece of land. I feel like they've been talking about this third gate for years and years and years and years. And finally, it's a strategic move on their part. Like, look, the city of Anaheim's finally on our side. Let's use it now. Let's make this third gate that people have been waiting for. Because this pandemic's almost over. People are ready to go to the parks. We already have of over fluctuation of pass holders and people that want to come, and we want to accommodate everybody, because I feel that's the way Walt Disney would want to take care of his guests. That's the whole reason the whole park works,
Yeah,
absolutely. And if you look at, I've looked at the plans, and I've sent David some maps and so forth that have come out after this announcement. Disney's being really smart, because here's the reality of things. If you look back to DCA and what part of what had to happen for DCA to happen, it wasn't just the parking lot. They had to buy some other property and so forth to build Paradise Pier and Paradise Pier Hotel and whatnot. Disney is not doing what everyone thought they were going to be doing. I remember rumors from a couple of years ago where they were going to be going east of Harbor and all the, the Denny's over there and Captain Kidd's Buffet and the small little motels, and buying all those out and putting a third park over there with a bridge over to it and extending downtown Disney again eastward. That may eventually happen, by the way. But again, they've got to be conservative with money because they've been hemorrhaging billions because of this pandemic. So they're taking existing property they have and just using every nook and cranny and taking out this parking lot, and maybe buying a little bit of land to build a parking garage, a new one. But they're not building a third park. It looks like they're going to extend Disneyland and California Adventure in creative ways and expand the size of those parks and bring some new attractions that people really want from Disney Sea and from Shanghai Disneyland. And like you said, increase the capacity and bring in more money, and hopefully then jump from there into building a true third gate, maybe 5-10 years from now, like has been rumored for years over on the eastern side there. But what do you guys think about some of the attractions that are rumored? What are you excited? What are you excited for?
Yeah, I've seen some of the attractions. They're going to have a lot of just like classic attractions with classic characters.
Like the Neverland.
Never's going to have Neverland, which is one thing that I really excited when I heard that. I'm like, dude, that's long awaited. Like, you guys should have added Neverland when the park opened in 55. But this will be cool. They probably have better technology. They could present it better. It's going to be crazy how it's going to connect, because I've seen that it's going to connect with California Adventure and it's going to connect with Disneyland. So I don't know how that's all going to work. Like, there's like too much. It's a very big piece of land to let me think that they're going to build all of that. I don't think so. I think maybe they're going to get like half of that done. Maybe not in the way it's presented though, but it's just a concept art. Or
they could do it in phases. I can't imagine they're going to expand both parks at the same time.
Not just park attractions, but they're talking about more restaurants, more hotels. It sounds like the downtown Disney district is going to get expanded, and and I bet you they're going to be doing something where ESPN Zone and the Rainforest Cafe area, that's all going to be probably redone as part of that project. Any flat ground parking lot is going to be gone and used. They're going to have to build another Mickey and Friends style garage. They already built Pixar and Friends, so
Dee's hurting out because of that. She doesn't like the parking structure.
I'm not a structure person. I'm a flatlander, and I will miss my Toy Story
parking
lot
garage.
Okay, is that what's the issue? What's your issue with parking garages? Just out of curiosity.
Okay,
crowded.
It's crowded. It's very large. When you park at the last row on a level, it's far. It's like a mile. When you park at the last row at Toy Story, it's not far at all. Like, you can still see your car when you get to your bus. And not only
I've lost my car a couple times.
We've lost the car. We couldn't remember where we parked in. It would really help if Disneyland added that on the app.
That'd be
the
cool.
Parking structure, the character, the number, the letter, the spot that you were by. There was one time, I think it took us 30 minutes to find the car. We heard it beeping. It was on the level below us, but we were by the edge and we couldn't find. And ever since then, I was like, never again. We're doing the structure. Never again.
Stressful. Yeah.
You know what they should have added when they built the Toy Story parking structure, and I see them all the time when I go to airports when I'm traveling the country. One of those flat ground escalators, people mover grounds, where it's conveyor belt. Put that between the parking spaces. So when you get out of your car, instead of having to walk that long distance, you just sit on this conveyor belt and it just takes you automatically to the front.
I'm telling you, man, right there, David Cantu for mayor. We need to get that done.
Note to Disney, future project and parking structure.
People movers.
So let's talk about a few more things. So we're talking about future and Disneyland Forward and so forth, but let's talk about what we already have in the Disney Universal parks. So for each of you guys, what is your favorite attraction? What's the one you want to get on the most?
Yes, our
Big Thunder Mountain, baby. Big Thunder Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain.
That Big Thunder Mountain is our traditional. Every time we go, we got to get on it. It doesn't matter if it's day or night. If it's raining and we get wet,
and you must stare at the goat as you make the turn.
Yes, and we have to sit in the last row. I don't care if there's 4 trains. I will wait to the side, and the cast members will go like, "All right, you're gonna wait." I know.
Okay.
I know. I'm that person. I'm sorry. I had to wait for the last row.
And of
And
course,
preferably we go on Big Thunder Mountain before we go eat at Zocalo.
Yes.
If we decide to eat at Zocalo that day.
Yeah, because it's a bender.
It's a big, yeah. You know, I have a hard time with this because I don't have a specific ride. Actually, no, I do. And I think it's just because I like trying to beat D at it, which is Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters.
Pew, 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 pew.
I want to try. One day I really hope to beat her score, but I haven't because I haven't gone on it enough. But if I had to choose one ride that I have to ride every time, it's that one or the Incredicoaster. I really like getting on that one.
Oh, Incredicoaster, yes.
That would be mine.
Go, David. Go, David.
If I was to get back to Disney, Incredicoaster, that was the coaster that made me that broke my fears and got Coaster Challenge started.
I went on Guardians with David and JD. That was fun.
Nice. Speaking of Guardians, Ferny and D, let me ask you. This is a good one. So Guardians has got 6 different songs. I'm correct.
Six different songs. Yeah.
Have you gotten all 6?
I think you've gotten most. I think you've gotten most of them. Well, I've gotten because
5.
You get on that coaster.
Yeah, I don't go on that one.
I got 5. I got 5 out of 6. I need Born to Be Wild, and they won't play it for me every time I get on it.
I've done Born to Be Wild.
Yeah,
Born to Be Wild is great on that ride. It's a great song for that ride.
You know what? Those
so
are all
awesome.
great. That's all great. But when it's Halloween and they do Monsters After Dark, that's the best.
Yeah.
The ride is
I love that one.
It's way rougher.
The music, the graphics. I love the monster that they're facing. The fiery skeleton monster.
So
I've gotten all except for free ride.
Free ride.
That's the only one I haven't gotten.
I might have gotten all of them. I think maybe some. Yeah,
and I haven't gotten Monsters After Dark.
So I got to say, Universal has been in recent years criticized because of all these screen rides, and they're correcting. Things like Hagrid's, which is amazing. Velocicoaster about to open here. Again, very limited screens and more practical effects and animatronics. They're doing better. But there is a place for screens, obviously in flying theaters. Flight of Passage is incredible. Soaring's still a great ride. But I got to say, what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy, with not talking about the coaster here in Florida, I'm talking about what we were talking about, the redo of Tower of Terror with the screens and being able to flip a switch literally and turn on that Halloween mode, Monsters After Dark, which I've experienced as well, is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Everything changes. The queue changes. The ride, everything.
Yes, even their outfits, even the cast members' uniforms change. Like they're ripped. I remember they were struggling, they were ripped and stuff, like they were trying to escape. And I remember at 3 p.m. is when it would convert. And every time at 3 p.m. we were down. We had the Disneyland time matched with our phones and our watches, and 3 p.m. we got to get that fast pass. And then that's why Fernie's done all the songs that I'm on, because when we get the fast pass, he gets to ride it twice. Because I would
too, and I use both of them.
I would use both of them, and I remember he would feel guilty, and I said, "Just go on the ride. I do my shopping at this time. It works out.
It's chicken time for you.
Yeah,
that's very kind of you.
Whenever a new ride comes out, I do it. I get the photo, and then that's it. That's the one time. I'm over it. No, I'm not going no more.
David D has not accepted the coaster challenge.
No.
the drop tower challenge. Yeah.
Drop tower. But speaking of coast, have you guys, outside of Disney, have you guys ridden any traditional coasters outside of Disney, like at Six Flags, Knott's Berry Farm?
Been coasters at Six Flags, Revolution, the Viper. What's that? Ninja. What's that other one over there?
Yeah, Ninja.
Cyclone.
They don't even have Cyclone anymore, which I'm super sad about, because I was talking about it. I was talking about it to someone, and they were like, what? What is Cyclone? And I was like, what are you talking about? What Cyclone? It's the wooden coaster at the back of the park. They're like,
now it's Apocalypse.
I would like to go to a Six Flags. I haven't been there in a while, and I would like to ride Twisted Colossus.
You got to go with David.
David knows what's
go with David. He'll take care of you.
Do the VR.
So if you guys, If you guys love Big Thunder Mountain, which I love as well, when you come to Orlando, you got to get on Hagrid's. So good. So good, amazing. And you like Harry Potter and the launches and the theming. And I'm really excited. I know we've been talking about it on certain episodes here of the podcast. David and Iva are still planning to come out here to Orlando in late October. And David has not been on Hagrid's, of course, not Velocicoaster and some of these other newer rides. So I'm excited to spend some time with him and Iva and get on the, I always love getting on a ride with someone for their first time, even if I've been on it a million times or whatever.
That's fun. I don't know why that's fun.
It is.
It just is to see their reaction. And so again, Big Thunder Mountain is your favorite ride. That's a great coaster. Have you guys ever been on Big Thunder Mountain? You were talking about day versus night. Have you ever been on that ride when the fireworks are going off?
Absolutely, many times. We
Nice.
know how to time it
Rain,
down.
shine, fireworks, no
Yes,
fireworks,
we
whatever.
would know how to.
That's a
time it
magical
down.
experience.
Yes.
That is a magical
Oh, yeah.
experience right there.
Yeah.
You're going by like, oh look, ah!
And the reflection of the fireworks are on the mountain right there, the really tall peak right there in the middle. Yes,
It's really cool.
it's great.
Awesome.
Those are
awesome.
magical moments.
Yes.
Yes, I got to experience that a few years ago before moving, obviously, with a couple of people, and it was purely by chance that it happened. We did not plan it, but I was just blown away. I'm like, oh my God, the fireworks are going off. Oh, this is like perfect for this ride. It's the theming and it's just adding to it. It's plussing it. So speaking of plussing, on the other side of things, so for you guys, we just talked about the favorite attraction. What's your least favorite attraction? Now, this has to be one that you go on.
You say Guardians?
No, see, I know. No, that doesn't count. Some attraction that you can go on. It's not that you're scared of it. It's something that you're willing to go on, but or a show or whatever.
That you don't like as much.
Yeah.
I like taking a nap on Small World.
Oh.
I'll go first to give Dee time to think. I will go on it, but it has to be the absolute, positively last ride of the night, or you're going to see another side of Sarah that you don't like seeing, and that's Star Tours.
Star Tours. Yeah.
I will.
Why is that, Sarah?
Because I don't like the first person movement, which, as many of us, all of us have been on. I was going to say Mandalorian. What's the ride?
Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run. Smuggler's Run is very much first person, but it does not make me sick. Star Tours makes me sick. It gives me a headache, and I'm the one that drives home.
One time on that.
So I don't like it.
Smuggler's Run. Keep in mind that you've got 6 people in the vehicle, and that's what's pivoting and moving around in various axes. Versus the Star Tours vehicle is like 40, 50 people. So the Smuggler's Run, the movement is much better synced with the screen. That's probably why you don't get sick.
Probably.
It's newer technology, and yeah.
You're not wearing 3D glasses.
And you're not wearing 3D glasses too. Exactly.
Okay, Ferny and Dee, what least favorite attraction?
Your least favorite attraction? Let's see. It's kind of hard to say because I like all of them, even the train at night with the dinosaurs. But I would say my least favorite attraction is probably going to be, it's a Small World. It makes me go to sleep. I really ride that ride just to I need to take a break. Let's go get on to Small World.
Because it has AC.
And it has AC. So it's kind of like a love-hate because I like being in the ride, but it's a sleeper.
The music sticks to your head.
Exactly. The music.
I'm like, I'd rather hear the Simpsons version where it's Duff beer for me, Duff beer for you. We'll have a drop. You have one too.
They have room
so Dee, what about you? What about?
I want to say it was Goofy's Flight School because
that is a close second for me.
It has really tight turns and you feel like you're gonna fall off on the edge.
Well, they fixed it.
They fixed it. They put higher bars like up to your head now, so you feel more secure.
Except for us tall people who go home with bruises on their arms.
Yeah, just something about only having a 4-person car and having these sharp turns when you have a view of the whole park. No, I can't. I will do it, but
I told you about that ride.
I have to do it with my eyes closed.
I told her about that ride because I rode that ride one time when I used to go to the park by myself, and I sat in the front. I remember almost like nearly like falling out of that thing when it made the turns. I'm like,
oh wow.
I'm like,
Still
and
better
I remember something happened to it because sometime a couple of summers ago, people got stuck on the ride, and then after that they shut the ride down for a couple of months, and then they put like new braking systems so it stops all real hard in the turn, so it takes the turns all smooth now. But
still better than Primeval Whirl. Still better than Primeval Whirl. David, did you get to experience Primeval Whirl? Oh, all right. David, did you get to experience Primeval Whirl?
Say that one more time.
Did you get to experience Primeval Whirl when you came here to Florida in 2017?
No, have not experienced that.
Okay, well, that's a credit you're not going to get because it's already been closed down, and it's awful. It's a Wild Mouse style coaster over in Dinoland, USA, or was, and it's just awful. It's rough. It's one of the worst Wild Mouse coasters I've ever been on. But I know we're running out of time here, so I actually just have one more question. So there were two questions I gave you guys, in advance, or David did in advance, but they kind of tie together. I think I have a feeling. So my understanding is that all of you guys have only been to to Disneyland and DCA. You've not been to Disney World, not been to international parks. Is that right?
No, we've never been to any international parks. Only California.
Yeah.
Not Disney World.
No.
I've been to Disney World, but it was 20 years ago.
Okay.
21
so
years
even for
ago.
you. Okay.
So
So we're going to talk about. Yeah.
It would be all new to me if and when I ever get to go again.
Or not some new, right.
Yeah.
A lot of it new, right? Okay. So in terms of rides that have been put in the parks, since the past 20 years for you, Sarah, or any or whatnot, or for you guys, anything at Disney World, or Sarah as well, anything international for all of you guys international. What is your number one bucket list attraction that's at a park that's already opened, but you've not gotten to be on?
Very good question. I got two. One's
okay,
easy one.
that's fine.
I want to ride the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train ride at Walt Disney World because that looks fun. Also, because I just saw some of the construction at Universal, Super Mario World.
Oh yes,
not an attraction, but I know that they have the Mario Kart ride. But that whole world is, oh my god! I need to go.
Sure,
it was pretty cool seeing it last weekend when we went to Universal.
I've seen sneak peeks because it's opening already. Is it Japan? It's already open.
Yeah, in Japan.
Yeah. Japan, yes,
it's already open. Oh man, it's oh cool, and they're already talking about expanding Donkey Kong Land. I'm like,
yep.
Oh my god, I need to go.
Yep, and we're supposed to get the Super Mario World they have in Japan and the Donkey Kong, supposedly day one for Epic Universe here in Orlando. Supposedly, yeah. Who knows with the pandemic, tightening up the money. Yes, the construction resumed at Epic Universe a few weeks ago.
Because I've seen there's been construction. There's a lot of people have been looking at that Velocicoaster.
Oh yeah, that's opening in another month.
Oh wow, that'll be cool.
Month. Yeah.
Oh, and
we're actually May, they're saying
we haven't really told Sarah this because we're actually we were actually able to get tickets to go to Universal again. We're actually going to go to Universal again next weekend because they opened up the lower lot, so we'll be able to go into the Jurassic Park area. So more of the park will be open. So we'll be going there next weekend as an extra video. Just
I haven't even seen Jurassic World yet.
Yeah, it kind of just happened. The tickets were sold out, and I had looked the Saturday. We had such a great time last weekend. I looked on the website and I said, "Oh, sad, everything's sold out except Thursdays." And then last night, I was looking online and I said, "Oh my God, they're open. There's tickets for Fridays and Saturdays." And I clicked it in the cart, and I'm like, "They're real. It's not like telling me, change the date." It was telling me that before, like I would pick a date and process and go, "Oh, sorry, unavailable," and it went through, and I would go all excited. And then after because the announcement of the lower lot, I'm like, they must have released more tickets because now they have more space to spread everyone out.
So Ferny, you mentioned Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I can tell you, having been on that ride both in Shanghai and in Florida, if you like Big Thunder Mountain, you're going to like Seven Dwarfs. They're similar, they're both mine train type rides. They're really fun. Seven Dwarfs has a little bit more theming to it with a little show scene in the middle, which is really cute, really well done. So Dee and Sarah, what about you guys for your bucket list attraction?
I want to say for bucket list local, I need to throw this in there. I need a Captain the Mark Twain. I want to write my name in the book. You know.
I know.
And then for international, I want to say over there in Florida, I want to say there's 3, and they're tied in my head. I want to say Everest, 7 Mines Train, and I want to do the Avatar ride over there.
Oh, Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage.
Nice.
At the safari park.
Yeah, that thing looks really cool.
That looks really neat.
If it's
so Animal Kingdom. Yep, me as well. Yep. Flight of Passage is the best flying theater I've ever been on by far.
And
I've been on a few of them. Yeah.
Speaking of Avatar, the one best souvenir I ever got was, this is an Avatar. This is me.
Of you.
They scanned my head and shoulder and turned me into an avatar over at Disney's Animal Kingdom over in Pandora. This cost $80, but it's probably one of the best souvenirs I've ever got at Disney World, which is really, really cool. So it comes in a full box and everything. So it's been sitting nicely in here.
So yeah, Pandora is beautiful. Even the river ride, it's short, but it's beautiful. I love Avatar personally. A Flight of Passage is amazing. The smells, the sights, the sounds, the motion of the ride is so unique because it's individual part of it. And the land is beautiful. David pointed out the souvenirs, really cool souvenirs. And then Satuli Canteen, the quick service restaurant, is amazing. So good. It's the best quick service in all of Disney World as far as I'm concerned. And right outside of Satuli Canteen, they have a window. You can get amazing margaritas, really good margaritas. So you guys will have a really good time at Animal Kingdom there. And Everest is awesome, right across the way there in Asia. Really great. And yeah, again, kind of like a mine train ride. You guys definitely have a theme going with the coasters you like. Okay, David's giving us. All right, so one more thing. So Sarah, your bucket list.
I don't have a specific. Well, I have 2. So I really, as crazy as it sounds, I want to try Tron. And I know Disney World is supposed to be getting it. I don't think they've gotten it yet. And I know it was said that we were supposed to be getting it. But we'll see. But I would like to go to Disney Hong Kong.
Nice. So I have been on Tron. I've been to Hong Kong as well. Tron is amazing. It's a podcast, but you guys can see my little virtual background here in Zoom. It's a picture I took of Tron when I was there 2 years ago. I got to marathon it because it was not busy one of the days I was there. It was so awesome. So excited to open here in Florida. And it looks like you guys may be getting it in Disneyland as part of the Disneyland Forward. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. Okay, so David's been giving us the wrap it up. So the last thing I would like to ask you guys, it's for Ferny, Dee, and Sarah, whoever wants to go through this. I'd like to give you the opportunity to kind of share so people can see your awesome videos and everything. So share, if you have a website, a YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever socials, please share how people can find you guys on the internet.
Yeah, you can definitely find me and Dee at Kidult TV on YouTube. That's usually where we post most of our videos. We're on Instagram at Kidult TV.
It's Kidult.tv on Instagram.
Oh yeah. And then I'm also on Twitch at Kidult TV. Also, I do like some gaming and I do like DJ streams on Twitch as well. That's something new I've been doing as well. So we're kind of like on every single social media platform, everything except for like TikTok, probably.
Yeah.
Coming soon. Kidult on TikTok.
On TikTok.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. It was fun talking about Disney and a little bit of Universal, and I'm excited for you guys to get your parks reopened here very, very soon, fully reopened. So hopefully you guys will get to experience that. And thank you for your time today. It was awesome talking to you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
What it do? So that was a great interview with Ferny and Dee with Kidult TV and Sarah.
It was a really good interview. It was a really, really in-depth conversation about theme park magic, how it really affects people's lives and it affects them for the better.
Yeah, it gives them their escape.
Yeah, I would say in the times that we all been living through, especially in this past year with this pandemic, we could really use an escape.
Yes.
And it's really great that Disney is back open. Hopefully we can secure some reservations and get down there as soon as possible.
Oh, I've been missing Disney since my last birthday.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Same here. I was supposed to celebrate my birthday last year. It was supposed to be at Disney, and it didn't get to happen. So, well, guys, I want to take the opportunity to thank you guys for taking time to listen to our episode. And don't forget to come on in every Friday. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, and that way you can be alerted when a new episode is released. But until then, this is David Cantu.
This is JD Prescott.
And we'll see you next week on Coaster Challenge.
Do you accept the Coaster Challenge?